we're live finally after a month or so. And that's going to be a bit laggy because I'm in a bit of a temporal setup right now, working from Spain, from my hometown. Um, but it's just going to be for some weeks. And I actually kind of didn't know what to do next. It's not that I didn't know to, but I kind of thought like over this holiday season and over sort of also the month of December, they've been, I've seen new people joining the channel. I've seen um, a lot of different things happening around, and I kind of thought it may be time that I try to give an update, even also to myself, right? Because none of this is I'm literally improvising here, right? Like you probably if you're a usual viewer of this channel, whether it's YouTube or Twitch or whatever, you probably know that's sort of the spirit of the whole thing, and it's going to be there. That's the core that's never going to change in a way, right? So, and I'm kind of trying to, I think it's natural that like New Year comes in and you're kind of like, let's think where we're going to take this next. What are we doing currently? Like, does it make sense? Like, am I lost? Because I kind of feel a bit like this recently, right? And if I switch to the YouTube channel stuff here, right before starting the stream, I was taking a look at I was taking a look at the channel, how it looks like, right? And we currently have basically, and this might be a good orientation for new people as well. This is the YouTube channel, which is basically the research archive, I call it, because at the end of the day, that's the base description that I can come up with for what I'm doing here. And it's basically got three main playlists. The biggest one being quantum computing from 0 to 1. It's about like 336 videos, and here you'll find sort of it's actually my starting journey, right? From literally not knowing anything about quantum computing, let alone quantum mechanics, to actually getting to what I call one as in being definitely not a quantum computing expert, but like being someone who's knowledgeable about quantum computing in a way that you can tackle, or at least can understand a problem and know where to go to look for things to actually solve the challenge that you have at hand, right? And this is it's this is not it's not your typical tutorials channel. This is more like and you know that if you've seen some of the videos, the actual details, the actual nitty gritty details of like the whole process of learning and the whole process of exploring things, and when tackling a problem, just actually going through the full experience of tackling the problem, because I think that's extremely valuable. Although sure, you get long videos out of these, not like the 10-minute flashy ready videos, which also have their value, but it's more like the actual nitty gritty of details of like how you go through the whole thing from 0 to 1 and many other topics. And then kind of like I at some point started doing the whole coding a quantum computing simulator, which has really turned out to be it changed a bit direction to be something a bit more like thinking of a different way to model entanglement and kind of code a simulator around this. And then late last year, I started the whole learning quantum mechanics from scratch, and it's been, I think, it's been pretty. Um, this last project has been a bit less successful so far because I feel like it's so broad and it's so difficult to actually get focus and sort of understand what what the goals are, which I really think that's one of the things that I want to change for this year. But essentially, that's kind of what you will find in YouTube in here. And this is a bit more like it started as in let's take a look at the physics project from Wolfram, and take a look at how do they try to model quantum mechanics, and then try to see if the act of understanding this modeling really really helps me actually learn quantum mechanics. But it's kind of like going back and forth through different in different directions, and it's still going to be like this for a while. But one of the things that I really want to add now for 2022 and forward is some notion of roadmap. It's probably already um, a running joke here, at least for myself, that I'm like I keep complaining about not having enough time, about not being able to commit enough to the channel, and I really want that. I really want to kind of have like a regular schedule, do like 3 sessions a week at least, and actually, three like research sessions a week, right, and kind of push these projects forward. And so I kind of, as a New Year's resolution, decided that I'll start like, and you'll find this here and uncertain.systems/roadmap. It's obviously still empty. I'm going to take the next days and weeks to kind of fill that up, and I want to be a bit more structured. I've been inspired for some other technology YouTube channels where they kind of um, it's a bit more like what do I want to achieve, like goal oriented. What do I want to achieve in the next month, in the next quarter, and stuff like that, to kind of hold myself accountable a bit more for what I really want um, to achieve, really. But it's been interesting, right? Because I've also been in the past weeks, as I really didn't have the time and the bandwidth to actually go and do actual videos. And it's just basically too much stuff going on. I've also been reading Quantum Country, which I wanted to for a long time. And this, like, I kind of prepared this a little bit because I was searching for the right spot, and I haven't finished yet. I was reading the quantum mechanics distilled part. Um, and I found it really interesting because it really kind of, and I know this probably sounds as like it's just a lot of random thoughts for a bit of an update video, but this is really the way I work. And so there's this whole concept that is explained here where they talk about quantum mechanics as being just the framework, right? Just the actual framework. It's not really a theory, but being like a framework that is used to construct physical theories like QED. Um, this being, I think, quantum electrodynamics or something like that. And so it's really interesting because you go through the different postulates, right? And it's like so you have these different. It's like a recipe, and then you kind of go off and say, cool, I'm going to take a look at something like a specific topic like, I don't know, electron dynamics or whatever. Like, I have no idea really of any other kind of examples. You just take a piece of the physics world and say, "Hey, can I use this framework to build a quantum theory, a quantum mechanical theory of that specific area of physics using these postulates?" And so I think that's what makes it really hard to kind of frame quantum mechanics and say, well, do I know quantum mechanics? Have I studied quantum mechanics? Because a lot of the materials that you will see in just university, you know, course plans and things like these, it's like you actually go through these, but you go through the core, but then you actually go and dive into very specific areas of physics where you try to build these quantum mechanical theories on top of or using these framework, and that's why it makes it really difficult, right? Because Wolfram is like, from the Wolfram model perspective, it's like, well, they go the route of saying, um, we have this model. This looks like it's similar to the path integral version of quantum mechanics, and so off you go, right? And there's not a lot of detail, although I haven't really been looking at updates recently, and maybe there's something else that we should take a look at. But that's kind of what's made it what's made it it's making it really difficult to frame that current project, right? And also, if you think about, I've also been recently diving into all these superdeterminism stuff from Sabina. I think Sossenfelder, right? I think it's her surname, which is also really interesting, right? Because it tries to kind of frame the whole measurement um, problem and the whole, like, Bell's theorem problem from a different perspective, right? So you don't need that at all. Like, if you believe that the actual detector setups are correlated in a way with your own state preparations, like, there's just these correlations basically just break um, the independence requirement of Bell's theorem, right? So you don't, like, that doesn't apply anymore. And so in a way, these are things that I also want to take a look into that. So you see, it kind of like, it just branches out too too quickly and too easily. And so I wanted kind of, I think that by bringing in something like the roadmap, maybe, and putting it out public out there as well, and of course being welcome to input from you guys and anyone that would be interested in kind of learning something specific and learning it with me. That will probably be the best and most interesting resolution for this year. And it really is. That is really, I think that's really what I wanted to kind of, all I wanted to say today. I'm kind of feeling like need to not a reset, but I need to kind of frame things a bit more. I need to kind of try to bring a bit more of a regular schedule to it, which is just a challenge currently because of family, babies, pandemic, work, up and down, and kindergartens and all this kind of stuff. And I guess for everyone out there that is like in a similar situation, you probably know what I'm talking about. If you're not, then and you'll eventually find yourself in this situation, you'll probably know about it. And I'm not complaining. I actually like it. It's just challenging, right? But I think that is I think yeah, I think this is really what I want um, to talk about because if you take a look at the let's take a look at the list here, for example, right? What should I do? Should I just I think I can just click watch on YouTube and then just mute this hopefully because I don't know if I have the right do I have the right setup? I hope you're I hope yeah the audio is coming in there. Sorry because I have like I have just a single screen and it's
Oh, I
everything lagging a
think.
lot. There you go. So I think the list should pop up here. I don't know if this is a smarter way to take a look at the videos in here, right? But you'll see that like it's really like you've got so here's when I started and then there's like quantum measurement, quantum measurements. It's really like digging into the Wolfram's project. But then later on I'm kind of like I think I did some videos where they might have seen a bit of for people because they're like oh they're not even in the list, man. I'm so bad at these. They're not even in the list. Let me just go to the videos actually. I've been doing some of the yeah playing with the code book by Xanadu about like quantum simulation and things like these. I've also been mixing up some stuff, taking a look at like a paper and whatnot, and um, yeah, all in all, it kind of feels like uh, I could you know I could do with a bit more structure with that regards to. So at least I know what my plans are and goals for the next months, and then I know what I'm working towards, and I know whether it makes sense to have something in there or not, and whether it makes sense to stream some of these things. Although that is kind of like that's how learning is really. It's just that's how like research and learning is. It's just messy, right? It's not like all this shiny tutorial videos that you find out there was like, oh man, it makes you kind of feel bad, right? Because you feel like you'll never be that perfect like the person recording that like 10-minute tutorial about like QAOA or something. But it's more like real life is just damn messy. So I think that is an important message that will always stay there. And really, yeah, really that's it. I wanna so the two active projects are still and will still be for this year. Um, the quantum, so the sort of the entanglement simulator and the quantum mechanics part, um, and essentially yeah, we'll see. I have to think about the roadmap still, but that's this. We're staying quantum mechanics. Like we're not really because I really had been thinking about also broadening the scope of these, but I almost thought like that is just a fucking excuse for not really looking into the details of stuff, right? Like I have this damn tendency to just like say, okay, cool, so I have a good overview. I'll just kind of generalize more because I mean people want to see, things about other domains in physics and whatnot. Um, and yeah, sure, but then you never really you never really get to master these things, right? And it's kind of like I don't know. I feel like the whole quantum mechanics is this is really going to stay quantum mechanical. If I can say that, I think that's something that if you as a viewer of all these videos and materials, which I very much appreciate, that you like these things, you watch these things, and you follow me along this journey. This is something that's definitely staying. It's quantum mechanical, and I really don't know if I'm gonna. So probably, and I'm quite sure. I'm quite sure that next projects are going to be specific quantum mechanical theories, right? So I'm gonna definitely dive into quantum field theory, going to dive into like quantum electrodynamics. I'm going to dive into superdeterminism as well. But I'm like, I don't want to rush it too much. It's like we have plenty of time, right? Like there's no rush. So um, it's like it's going to be a mixture of research and then actual projects, right? Like the um, entanglement simulator in a way is also just an excuse to to deep dive in entanglement to kind of like look at entanglement from a different perspective and dig as deep as possible just by actually having to build something. And it's like 53 videos, but probably they're all trash almost, because I think I think half of them I was just like, it was definitely the wrong approach, but it's also part of the journey, right? And now I'm looking at it from a different angle, and I think that's a better that is definitely uh, a better approach. But you'll see. And also, yeah, the EHA, as I was calling it. Some people have been reaching out in December as well about these quirk puzzles. I don't know if you remember, if you're like a if you started watching some of my videos in the past, like I did some puzzle game videos where I took quirk and basically did sort of like hacked a version, a custom version where you were able to build puzzles, and then you kind of had to solve these puzzles, like circuit puzzles, for example. Like, okay, you could see like a block sphere spinning with some of the quirk features. It's like what kind of set of gates you have to put just to make that stop spinning, right? And things like these. I eventually, like, at some point I just trashed that because I was just not happy with the way this was being all hacked together. And also I didn't feel like that was something that was useful in a way, and I just didn't want to have it there hanging, not in a finished state. Yeah, I don't know. It's one of the things that I've always wanted to kind of bring back to life, and this might be, another playlist in and of itself at some point this year. But I really can't. I really don't want to promise anyone that this is something that's going to happen like within the next weeks or so. Um, it's cool. I think it was a nice tool to gain intuition about quantum computing and whatnot. And so definitely. But I mean, the spirit of this whole thing is what we're doing here, right? What we're doing here is it's just research for fun in a way, right? So it's as innocent as it gets. Like, I just want to learn stuff. I just want to learn quantum mechanics as in the broadest sense of quantum mechanics, right? Not just the core principles, but like everything in general. And so this is something that I think I got like in the beginning of the whole channel. I probably was close to messing up because I feel a lot of my content, well, I really tried hard to actually monetize some things. And it's like, we're gonna do some collaborations and do some videos with whatever. And I did this Quantum Odyssey thing, which was cool as well. But like that's just not the way that I feel about this. Like, this is really, it's just really research for fun in a way. It's just pure. I just want to learn stuff. I just want to know how things, I just want to know quantum mechanics in an as intimate way as possible. And and that's it. And so from that perspective, that's what you can expect for 2022. Just have a bit more clarity with the roadmap. But we're gonna go ahead with these. Um, and if I have the time, I'll eventually get to do maybe, and I want to do that. I want to do from each of the playlists, like I want to do like a proper summary video that is an actually well edited video about like the learnings of the whole project, right? So it's going to be hard to summarize 336 videos, but if you go to uncertain dot systems, there's a bunch of like links to different projects and different things. And you'll see that I've had for a while the quantum computing intro for devs in Hari, which I think the title is just shitty. I'm going to change that. But that's the idea here is we're going to have a summary video of the learning quantum, sort of the quantum computing from 0 to 1. We're going to have a summary video from the coding quantum. But once things are finished, right? The only finished project is really quantum computing from 0 to 1. That's the only thing that I've actually properly closed. Um, and this is really it. Like, this is really um, maybe now that because I've been looking at this, I'm like Web3 and whatnot and all this crap. And I did actually have this thing with OpenSea where I said like, well, maybe a cool way to monetize all these would be, to kind of like do the NFT thing around the concept of like these aha moments, right? For me, I think a very special um, fruit and outcome of the whole of this whole channel and stuff. And I'm not looking at the comments. I don't even know if anyone's watching. Oh, Q studies there. Hi, yeah, cool, thanks. But like the one of the things that I appreciate, the thing that I appreciate the most out of these is kind of to capture in video in live those moments where you're like, now things click. Like now something that I've learned and have been struggling for the past days and weeks, it actually clicked and I understand it. You have this kind of aha moment. And I think kind of framing those things and putting them there as like NFTs of a sort. Like, and it's just like I was just playing with these, right? But it doesn't have to be NFTs or whatever. But it's a bit like that's the unique thing. That's one of these kind of like not reproducible things, even by anyone else, right? Because everyone has their own learning, well, like way of learning, way of experiencing things, and so that's going to be it's something really personal and unique, um, which is out there. But I also killed Patron. I killed all this kind of stuff. I'm not really interested in any of these things. It's just kind of this is truly like research in the most like innocent way of you could imagine, I'd say. And so I'll try to do these videos once this project's done and kind of move on to other stuff. But it was, I don't know, in a way it was fun as well to see, by the way, like while reading this whole quantum country, that actually like they follow a similar approach, right? So first is quantum computing, right? So you start from quantum computing, you do some of the algorithms, and then you approach quantum mechanics. Because I think this has been super helpful. Like if I had like jumped right away to quantum mechanics, like without doing anything about quantum computing, like it would have been actually pretty hard. At least because of the background I come from. The this really this really helped, like the whole thing with quantum computing. It just helps have a base to then think about quantum mechanics later on. But that's just, we'll see. We'll probably try to bake that into this summary video. And I'm talking too much already because that's not the point. I just wanted to give a quick update that this is what the outlook for 2022 looks like for those of you who are faithful followers of this whole project. Yeah, and let's see. Okay, let's see. I really, the most important thing is I want to get that schedule, that traction, which I'm like just fighting for months. It's just chaotic. But I want to get there, and I want to kind of have like create that, the thing with the roadmap. I'll put that in my video descriptions as well, the link, so you can follow on the what the progress is and what the goals are. Sort of, it's always going to be a moving target, of course, but I'll change it here. And yeah, that is pretty much it. If you would like me to touch on any topics in the future, any specific quantum related stuff, feel free to drop me a message in Twitter. Feel free to join our Discord server. Just ask me in Twitter or something, and then we'll figure it out. Okay? I think that's it, really. Yeah, looking forward uh, to putting that into a bit of a more, oh, giving it a kick, kind of giving it a kick. And yeah, well, I'm realizing I'm probably just bad at finishing this video. That's what it is. See you in the next days.